Who's the greatest WWE wrestler in the world? Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in this one, me and Dylan have made a list of the top 5 WWE wrestlers currently. So I will give a pretense for, I don't know if this applies to you also, Dylan, but I tried to not include, like, Randy Orton or, like, kind of people who hit legend status in that sense. So I guess without further ado, do you want to do any honorable mentions, or do you want to jump right into this? Because this was a little trickier than I thought.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's honorable mentions all around. In my opinion, Jacob Fatu is probably the biggest honorable mention for me. But there's big ones. I mean, Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, I would say is probably an honorable mention. Braun Breaker, I would say, is a potential honorable mention.
Okay.
As well as I'm sure there's a handful of other guys that you could say, and I wouldn't argue too hard with you. I'm assuming we went with male superstars only, and we'll do a separate video for women.
Sure.
But yeah, so those would be the three off the top of my head. Would be Fatu, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, and I already forget the other person I said.
I will say someone who didn't make my list was Jey Uso.
Yeah, Jey Uso also not on my list. I can say that he's probably a good honorable mention as well. And Sami Zayn is not on my list.
Yeah, Sami Zayn also. Yeah.
So there's a handful of guys. I mean, WWE's loaded right now, right? So I think we're looking at
big time
overall, right? What makes a great wrestler in the WWE, right? So obviously they need to have that in-ring ability, but they need to be able to tell a story. They need to be able to go on the mic. Obviously, this is overall, but I think it's good to mention as well, maybe like some guys who are the top stars in WWE, maybe like every company's different, right? And I think that's mainly what I'm trying to get across, and to where I feel strongly about these guys also being in, up high on that list of best wrestlers in the world right now. There's also specifically for WWE, these are the top 5 guys in my opinion.
All right, so why don't you kick us off with your number 5, and we'll work our way up to number 1.
Yeah. So my number 5 at the current moment is Gunther.
Wow.
Gunther, your former world heavyweight champion, just recently lost the title, obviously, to CM Punk, who then got cashed in on by none other than Seth freaking Rollins. And so Gunther, I think at certain times he would have been higher up on this list. I think the biggest thing for me is that at this moment in time, I think there's guys who, and obviously I think it has a lot to do with the storytelling and the storylines and where they've been going, but there's guys who have inserted themselves atop that card, and I think Gunther is one of those guys. But when it comes to the star quality, and this is not to say that Gunther lacks star quality, I think that is what puts him at 5 on my list compared to the other 4 guys. And trust me, you could argue with me that Gunther belongs higher on this list, and I wouldn't argue too hard back with you.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I would go out on a limb. I'm going to assume we probably have the same top 5. I'm hoping I didn't just forget somebody, but I feel pretty good about the 5
Yeah,
that I have.
me as
Um,
well.
so coming in at number 5 for me, this could be a shocker. This could be someone who anybody could have at number 1 currently, and I'm not sure how much I would argue with you, but that's going to be CM Punk.
Okay.
So, like I said, you can have CM Punk in number 1. That's fine. To me, currently number 5, I think he's probably the best on the mic in these 5 that I have. Obviously, to me, the biggest question mark with Punk was like, how much can he really go still? And after his match with Gunther, it really proved that he can still go very much. Like, they just had a 30-minute absolute banger of a match at SummerSlam.
And that was where Punk got essentially the shit beat out of him the whole time. So
Big
I'm
time.
assuming a match where he's getting in some more offense would be even easier for him and less
Yeah.
less hard on the body, you would think. You know what I mean? So a more evenly, if imagine like a what Punk can really do with a more like 30 minutes if he was getting some more offense in. Not to say that he didn't get in any offense, but obviously I think a big part of this story was how much pain that Punk was able to go through and withstand. And man, I mean, listen, we always say the best way to they always say too, a lot of wrestlers, like the best way to look look good is for your partner to like make you look good, essentially your dance partner in there. um and damn, did Punk make Gunther look like a fucking beast.
Yeah.
So
And so, like, I think the thing that just puts Punk at number 5 is, as much as he still has it in the ring, I think he is the worst of these 5 in ring. And I don't think the gap in promo skills is as wide as it once was, maybe 10 years ago when he was like in his prime run with WWE. Because I think now more than ever, a lot of people can cut really good promos. So that's why Punk came in at number 5. But honestly, my 5, I feel like you can kind of just shuffle them around, and I'm not sure how much I would really even argue with anybody. So, Dylan, talk us through your number 4.
yeah, so my number 4 is your number 5, CM Punk.
Okay.
CM Punk is my number 4, and the reason I have him above Gunther for me is kind of what I expressed. It's just that star power. When that CM Punk music hits, it's hard to argue that there's few pops that are quite like it. Few people can get their name chanted through a stadium the way that CM Punk can. Um, he's always had that ability to connect with the fans, connect with the crowd. He's always been so unapologetically himself, which has allowed him to, which obviously has hurt him at times, but has allowed him to connect with the fans in the way that he has. And I'm sure he wouldn't change a thing. Um, so, and obviously, like you said, the biggest thing was how much does Punk have left in the tank? And then after we saw him go at SummerSlam, I think that's not too much of a question anymore. It seems like he's got a good amount left in there. So, and let's be frank, it's not like he's still in great shape and potentially like even better shape than his last WWE run. As far as if you just want to look at physically, um, I know age obviously plays a factor as well, but as far as cut and lean, you could argue that he's more cut and lean than he's ever looked in WWE. So I don't know. I think it's other than the biggest thing, like you said, was waiting to see how much he had left in the tank. In a match with Gunther is what I was really excited to see, and then yeah, boy did they deliver.
Big time. So, yeah, you guys let us know in the comments. Should Punk be higher on both of our lists? We have him outside of the top 3, so let us know in the comments how you feel about Punk not cracking the top 3 of current best in the world for someone who calls himself the best in the world. My number 4, Dylan, is going to be your current WWE champion, and that's going to be the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Interesting.
This is a guy that I initially had higher up on my list, but I had to drop him down a little bit. I mean, he is the guy, right? I think he's probably the top person in WWE if you're looking at it in terms of like the business side of things. Like, he is QB1. He is the face of the company. And he's just as much of a pure babyface as we're probably going to get for a long time. Like, he is someone who's so authentic. You could just see it. He's such a good promo. He's so good at storytelling, especially in matches, in promos. He's a guy that everybody can connect with, especially after watching a little bit of the Unreal documentary, just seeing how much he appreciates the fans and everybody rooting for him. There's just a couple people that I think are slightly better, and I think that there's three. The other people I have ahead of him, I think, just barely edge him out in the in-ring side of things, and I think they're all just as good on the mic as Cody. So that's why I've got Cody at number 4, but again, is someone you could put at number 1, and I'm not going to argue with you.
Interesting. I'd argue that I'd disagree that if I'm getting the 3 that you have, right?
Mhm.
Like, I would disagree that they're all 3 of them are just as good on the mic as Cody.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I would say that's a pretty hot controversial one for you there.
Oh,
WWE
all right.
champion
I
at
like
4.
it. I'll take it.
When you think about it.
Sure.
So yeah, but I'll go into my number 3, right?
Sure.
And my number 3 is none other than the tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Okay.
So Roman Reigns, of course, your undisputed tribal chief. Hard to argue that there is any pop quite like his when his music hits, man. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else feels this way. I honestly want the head of the table music back, like the one that was like, you know what I'm talking about?
Really?
Yeah, I liked that one better.
Wow.
But anyway, I don't think it's not that this one's bad. I just like the one that was like. You know what I'm talking about? They did that thing. Anyway, yeah, Roman, hard to argue that there's a pop quite like his. Obviously, I don't know if anybody can quite tell a story like Roman can when it comes to in the actual ring itself. I mean, obviously we know that he can very much go in that ring, but it's his ability to tell a story throughout a match that really puts him in a league of his own, in my opinion. For me, at number 3, it's just like I said, the pops are hard to argue with, but it's and I don't hold this against him. I mean, I do in this ranking, I guess, but it's like I don't view him any differently. I don't view him in a negative light. I think this is just the way it is. Roman works a much lighter schedule than a guy than
Big time.
some of the other guys on this list, right? And I think where he has been throughout his life with his health obviously plays a huge factor into that. But with that, the time away, like that builds that pop, and it's you can't argue against that. Like, that is a fact. If he was around every single week, not saying the pop wouldn't be enormous, I think it just wouldn't be quite as like every time he comes out, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's really what it is. It's just the lack of he hasn't wrestled or appeared nearly as much as the other guys on this list. So I don't feel, and while also not holding a championship, I feel like can't put him above the 2 guys I got above him at the moment.
All right. So coming in at number 3 for me, Dylan, is going to be the ring general Gunther. So for me, I have Gunther this high up. I'm probably a little biased towards heels just because I love heels so much, but I think he's such a unique heel in a sense of he's not out there getting cheap heat, right? He's not out there telling everybody or telling the city how bad they are just so everybody boos him. Like, he is more complex of a bad guy, and I think he kind of blurs the lines between bad guy and good guy. You know, this is someone that's just trying to prove that he's the best in the world. He's trying to protect the sacred sport of professional wrestling. And so I think, like, obviously now he's more of a heel, but you had times before where he was kind of a tweener. Like, I think you blurred the lines a little with Gunther. In the ring, I'm not sure there's very many people who are better than him. On the mic, I think he has really grown. I think not enough people talk about how good he is on the mic with being a little less unserious, but also just his promos are so good because he doesn't need to sit there and yell at the top of his lungs to get you to believe like what he's saying is true. He simply is just stating facts and you believe it because he is very authentic and he truly believes that he's the best wrestler on the planet. And I've got him as the third best wrestler currently. And I just love Gunther. I think it's probably top 2 for me for like my personal favorite wrestlers currently. So obviously I'm going to be a little more biased towards the ring general Gunther.
Yeah. I get
3.
what you're saying, though. I can't argue too hard with you on it. Having him above Cody is a little crazy to me, though, I will say at this point in time. But I get it. I can't argue too hard with it. Let me not say crazy.
You could say crazy.
It's a talking point for sure. And like I said, I'm pretty confident we have the same 5 guys on this list. So
Yes.
I'll just hop right into my number 2, which is, it seems, I'm assuming, we'll let you get to your number 2 whenever. But my number 2 is the current WWE champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Sure.
The man who just recently won the WWE Championship from the GOAT, John Cena, at SummerSlam. Yeah, I think it's hard to argue with Cody Rhodes' star power, with his ability to connect with the fans, with his ability to carry the company. He is, like you said, the purest white meat babyface that we're potentially going to, like, it's going to be really hard moving forward to get a babyface in the way that Cody is, because he's so genuinely a babyface in the way that he's just a sensitive, like, kind guy who is just like at his heart of hearts is like attempting to make his father proud and fulfill the dreams that his father never could, like, in his heart of hearts. Like, that's what he's, and it's hard to argue with that. Like I said, not saying never say never, like he said, with a heel turn, but
He's not turning heel.
no, yeah, like I said, I mean,
I'll say never.
Never say never, especially with the John Cena thing. You never know how things will go. Whoever knows 10 years later into Cody's career, but I think it's fair to assume that he'll remain the top babyface in the company for years to come. And I think that match with Cena at SummerSlam, man, I think that's the biggest thing for me, which is like my makes me a little bit like interested that you didn't put him higher, because that match with Cena at SummerSlam to me was like, if you had any doubts about, not that I did or I think you did, but if you had any doubts about Cody in his ability to, I don't think anybody really had a ton of doubts, but in his ability to just like tell a story in the ring, wrestle, just straight up like fight, like that match was fucking incredible in my opinion, man. Like that match was so good. One of my favorite matches of the year. I can't wait to go back and watch it again after, like, I let it sit a little bit longer. But yeah, that match for me is really what pushed it over to, I was like, yeah, it's hard for me to put Cody anywhere lower than 2, and especially after just winning back that title.
And another thing with that match that was crazy was like they essentially, I don't know, you guys can go back and listen to the podcast like a while ago, but when we first got speculations of them doing Cody versus Cena, before Cena was even a heel, I was worried about if Cody wins, then he may get booed out of the stadium if he beats Cena for the title or if they wrestle. And like during the match, Cody was getting booed a little bit, so I was like, I really thought they were going to boo him out of the stadium, but then they didn't after he won. So like, it just goes to show like how much they also love like Cody Rhodes. Like a lot of other of your top baby faces, if they beat Cena to win the title at SummerSlam, are going to get booed out of the stadium, especially with how pumped that crowd was for John Cena's first babyface match back. So it just goes to show like the true babyface power and star power of Cody Rhodes. So yeah, you're not going to get any arguments from me for him being at number 2 on your list. So I'll get into my number 2, Dylan, and that's going to be our tribal chief, the big dog, Roman Reigns. I mean, this could just be a little recency bias because I just watched a clip on TikTok of just Roman Reigns, and it was just like basically Paul Heyman kind of narrating from different social media clips of interviews that he did of like why Roman Reigns is the best. And so that got me really fired up. But I think Roman Reigns is, like Paul Heyman said, a box office attraction. Like he is the biggest box office attraction since Hogan. And he is somebody who, like you said, is so good at telling stories. On the mic, he's incredible. In the ring, he's good. And telling stories in the ring, telling stories on the mic. Like, obviously, everything that's happened with the Bloodline saga over the past 4 years. And he kind of just established himself as somebody who is in a different, like, tier than everybody else, if that makes sense. Like, you have everybody else who are like WWE superstars and they're awesome in this, but like Roman Reigns is like over here. Like he is his own like entity of a being. And so it's hard to put a ton of people over him for me currently. I think, like you said, if he was featured more often on television, then he would probably be number 1 for me. Like if this was 2 years ago, then he was probably number 1. Maybe we did a video a while ago, and maybe he was number 1. But I think right now with his current work schedule, which is fine, he has totally earned to not have to travel however often they travel these days because he carried the company for 4 years. Roman Reigns, again, number 2. Put him at number 1 if you want, but I don't think you can slide him down too much farther. I think we all can agree that Roman is a current top 3 all-around wrestler in WWE.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I just went on my rant about the tribal chief at number 3 for me. And it's hard to, like you said, put him much lower than 3. Like I said, I didn't, but I wouldn't put him much lower than 3. I have a pretty solid top 3, as like those are the 3 guys for me. And then it seems like we have the same number 1, I'm guessing,
Sure
which is
do.
your current world heavyweight champion. He's a visionary. He's a revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
He is Seth freaking Rollins, and he's your world heavyweight champion.
Sure is.
After cashing in on CM Punk, an incredible cash in. For me, like I said, there's going to be some bias there, as Rollins is my top guy.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's for a reason. Like I just truly think he's the best at this when it comes to. And the thing that puts him above Cody and Roman for me, right, is I'll say it like this. It is so hard to argue that there is anything more compelling than the tribal chief character and what Roman Reigns has created, right?
Mm-hmm.
And similar with Cody, it's hard to argue that there's any more compelling presentation of Cody Rhodes than this current presentation of Cody Rhodes, right? And I think obviously because there's so much of their genuine real life blended into their characters, right?
Yeah.
Into their gimmicks. There's so much Joe Hawaii and Roman Reigns, obviously, in the bloodline, and there's so much Cody Runnels and Cody Rhodes and what he comes from. And to whereas that has been a huge positive and puts them and has 100% helped them achieve the status and the level that they are today. Where it sets them back is it's because they've become so intertwined with those gimmicks and those presentations. It's hard for them to ever really move too far away from them, right? And they don't have to. Like, and that's not a thing of like, but Seth Rollins, where he is, where he has the level above them, in my opinion, is the versatility, right? Seth Rollins, we've seen the amount of gimmicks he's done throughout his career and just been top tier with pretty much every single one of them. And he can play a compelling baby face that just is underdog that wants you to root that you want to root for. He can play the corporate heel villain. He can play the cocky rich guy villain. He can play the over obsessed visionary like he's playing now. He can be the he can do comedy gimmick, like he can do comedy gimmicks. He can make things very serious. He can cut a look you dead in the eyes and cut one of the best promos in the business as a heel, as a baby face. And if you give him any which direction to go, he can go with it. And then on top of that, obviously, when it comes to the in-ring, the psychology of the sport, I don't think anybody is on the level quite like Seth Rollins, in my humble opinion. He's so good at what he does. And it's hard to argue that when you go toe-to-toe and you really think about all the stuff that makes an incredible wrestler and an overall incredible performer, it's really hard to argue that Seth isn't the top guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say. Obviously, I agree with everything you say, but I think he's the guy who, if you're building a professional wrestler, if you want to make the best professional wrestler on the planet, like, you take every aspect from Seth Rollins and you use that, right? He's insanely good in the ring. He's incredible on the mic. He's great at telling stories. Like you said, he could do a really good heel. He could be a really good babyface. I think this is a guy that just gets it in every single aspect of professional wrestling. He gets the entertainment side. He's the best ring gear in the game. He's the best ring attire in the game. He's got the best entrances in the game. He's got one of the best theme songs in the game. Like, this is a guy who just gets it. He gets every single thing about professional wrestling, about sports entertainment. And so it's hard to put anybody above him, which is obviously why we didn't. And who knows, maybe a couple months ago, before he starts this faction, maybe he gets knocked down to number 2. But I think just the vision now with him and Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, like, this just,
and the cash-in, obviously.
And the cash-in, like,
now
obviously,
he's got 2 of the best cash-ins, like, ever.
Heist of the century and the ruse of the century.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think obviously those play a factor, and it just shows how versatile that he truly is. And I think this is a super fun current version of Seth Rollins. I think currently he's kind of the most interesting person probably in WWE. I think he's got the best story going on, and obviously this story with CM Punk is far from over. So you guys let us know, who is your number 1 current wrestler in WWE. Let us know how we did with our list. I feel pretty good about this 5. Honestly, I think I would probably argue Seth should be number 1. I feel pretty good about Seth having to be number 1, and then everybody else, I feel like just mix up, in my opinion, and like I wouldn't get too mad at you.
Yeah.
So you guys let us know, who's the best WWE wrestler currently. Make sure to smash that subscribe button and make sure to click that bell in the corner so you get notified every single time we release a new video. And if you want to hear us talk about what matches we think are going down at WWE Clash in Paris, check out our previous video. With that being said, I'm Mark Izzo, he's Dylan O'Brien, and we'll catch you in the next one.